Oh, there it
Welcome
goes.
back. Yeah, finally got to record. Welcome back to the Hoops Temple podcast. Y'all know me, Nathan Schwartz, and joining me to my left on the video, right, left, Dylan Williamson,
Good morning.
and to his left, Aaron Schroeder.
Good afternoon, guys. It is 110 degrees where I am right now.
It's probably like 85 where I'm at, but you know what they say? It's not the heat; it's the humidity that gets you,
They do say that.
guys. We're like 72 hours into free agency, and I thought it would be fun to just go right down the list of teams. We're just gonna go alphabetical order because, you know, Atlanta, they deserve to be talked about. Have you heard anyone discuss Atlanta on a podcast?
I
No,
have not.
Atlanta's just so boring. Like they just keep doing like the same shit, and then they finally traded John Collins, and it's kind of boring.
Well, here's what they've done. They traded away John Collins, so that's massive cap flexibility. And then they were able to bring in Ty Washington and Usman Garuba. Thoughts?
It's a big nothing burger. They've basically done nothing but a few moves. And really that was more so Houston clearing cap for a Brook Lopez contract that never happened.
It's a Dylan Brooks contract that did happen.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I like it thus far, though. Hey, take a quick flyer on some guys. I think you saw what John Collins was going to be and you didn't like it, so get off that cap space.
I can't believe
Yeah.
they finally traded him.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to like update his scheduled tweets of right around the trade deadline, and it's like John Collins is being talked about in trades, and Miles Turner is being talked about in trades. He's gonna have to update his scheduled tweet to probably take both of them out.
This was a bit of a bit. We do not have to go straight through the teams. I assume you guys want to jump to Phoenix, who has
To
kind of been the team of
Phoenix.
the offseason.
Sure.
Moments before jumping on, it was announced that they are signing Aaron Gordon to a 2-year, $6 million deal. So they have filled out the rotation with Gordon, bringing back Damian Lee, Josh Okogie, adding some bigs up front, Drew Eubanks, thanks, and Chimizi Metu. Aaron, I know you've got some Metu thoughts. And then from San Antonio, Kenneth Bates Diop. Is this the bench that can win a title? Is this the
Probably
depth
not.
they needed?
Probably not. It's nice. Eric Gordon's nice depth, and their depth will be better than last year. But I hate to break it to you, Chimezi Metu's not that good. And I think they gathered a lot of like awesome 10th guys, but they're still gonna have the depth issues. I do like the one how do you pronounce it? Watanabe signing just purely for awesome shooting in the corner, and that's all he's gonna have to do on that team. But they're still gonna have depth problems for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like given the constraints that they have of having five guys or four guys under contract, making like the entire luxury tax threshold. Given like the limited resources they had, I mean, they did like pretty decently. Like Bates Diop gives them some athleticism. Eric Gordon was like low key pretty good last year. Still like a strong guy, he can still hold up on defense and maybe make some shots. It's like he could actually. I mean, it's just it's bad that it's a terrible fit because like I was going to say he could close for them, but I mean they've already got two shooting guards in their closing lineup, so they probably don't need another one. But yeah, like given what limited resources they had, they did pretty much as well as you could hope for.
Not a bad job by any means. I don't think it changes worlds, but I am impressed. The fact, I mean, if I was a role player, it's Denver or it's Phoenix, or I'm like, I just get to stand here and shoot. This is fucking great. This is awesome.
Yeah, I do worry a little bit that they've loaded up with too much of just like the same type of players that aren't really super playable with their key guys. I mean, I think Drew Eubanks, he had some good runs in Portland there where he was a switchable defender. I was actually kind of surprised that he never took over like the full-time starter and just Nurk dropped down to like 15 minutes, but he is very foul prone. I think he is probably going to be the best of the guys they brought in. But they still don't really have like a primary ball handler. Like do you trust Campaign to be the starting point guard on a championship team, or are we putting that burden on Booker? I mean, I think playoffs are going to put that burden on Booker. I don't.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, during the regular season, I think that's way too much to put on him night in, night out. I was kind of surprised that they didn't make a run at Derrick Rose or weren't able to get just someone that can be that guy for the regular season.
I haven't decided what the name for this play is, but the Suns fans are gonna see Chimezie Metu do this a lot. I don't know what it's called, but when a guy shoots like a floater in the center instead of like trying to go for the rebound, like jumps with it. If he touches it, it's a goaltend, but he's like in the air. I gotta come up with a name for that, but he led the league in those, where he just jumped out of position just to get closer to the basketball.
So it's like Luke Cornette's thing where he just,
Yeah,
you know,
but it
the
doesn't actually
eclipse
do anything ever.
takes you out of defensive rebounding position.
That's true. It does, yeah. But I think they're gonna. I think Metu, he can space the floor a bit, and he's really athletic, and he's definitely. He was honestly my favorite option for the Kings backup centers last year, just because he had a little bit more. He was a nice lob threat and whatnot, but
There's a
basketball
pretty low
IQ
bar
was.
when you're looking at Kings backup centers.
That's true. That's true. We
Hey,
can
you guys,
get more to that when we talk about the Mavs and convincing themselves that Rashawn Holmes is going to fix their problems. But
hey, they re-signed Powell.
that's true. That's true. And Powell's good.
All right, who wants to nominate the next team?
Let me take a look. You want to
What
go?
do you
You
mean
want to
take a
go?
look?
Uh,
We've talked about 2 teams. There's 28 teams. You gotta
I gotta
look
think
at
a little
who's
bit.
there.
Well, can we do the Kings? Can we talk about my Kings?
Sure, we can talk about your Kings.
I'm happy. I'm a happy Kings fan. I think we did a good job. I felt like the expectation I had is that we had a nice season and then we were gonna cut off our own foot and just do something really stupid, taking a swing at Kyle Kuzma for $100 million or going all in on Draymond for 120 million or something, and just kept our guys. I like the Duarte pickup, although I haven't really seen if that's officially gone through. Um, and the European guy, Zenkov, just happy to have him. We needed more bigger wings, and he is one of them, and he'll space the floor. And did we fix all of our problems? No, but are we worse? No, and at that point, I'll take it.
So there have been a number of extensions and re-signings. The line's a little bit blurry, but I've gotten 7 extensions written down. Not re-signings, not opt-ins, whatnot. Sabonis, 217 million for 5 years. I'm gonna read off the other extensions, and I want you guys to let me know if you would rather have the Sabonis extension or the other player's extension.
This is a
Nikola
fun.
Vucevic, 60 million over 3 years.
I would rather have Sabonis over Vucevic.
20 mil a year versus like 40 mil a year.
Vucevic was the worst defensive center in the league last year, given like 300. I just watched this video. I just saw this stat. Given like 300 shots taken at him, he was the worst defensive center in the league.
Okay. Dylan?
Yeah, I'll probably take Sabonis as well. And
Oh,
Vucevic really
we're on fire.
such high praise. Yeah, like I'm amazed that Vucevic like got this contract because like who else was going to give him it? Maybe it's like a bird rights trap thing where it's like if he leaves, you can't get another decent starting center. But like, man, he was like really, like Aaron said, the worst defensive player and not a clear offensive plus, and they gave him $20 million a year. It's crazy.
When I was doing my like best 40-point game series, he had one during that stretch, which like that series almost killed me because everyone was having 40-point games, and I was like trying to watch every 40-point player game.
It's a hell of
They
a
were like,
season to do that.
oh my god! I was like, there seems to be a lot of these. I should do that. That'd be a good TikTok series. And then it was like 4 a night. It just I couldn't watch any other games, and I was like, I don't want to watch Zach LaVine have a 40-point night, and then Vu, and then CJ McCollum, but um when he has the ball and when he's playmaking, I like what Vu can bring to a team. And with Caruso pressuring the ball, his defensive lapses are a lot less noticeable. I'm not as out on this, but I get it.
I think
Next,
that the other thing was he's 32 years old.
yeah,
He's not a young center anymore, and we're going to be on the decline. Sabonis is just 27. There is a chance there's another level to this, whether it's a big level or not. But there is a chance. There is zero chance. They're like, holy shit, the Vucevic season. Like, who saw it coming? Age 34.
the
Like, he broke out. Like,
Voo.
it's never happening. Just in terms of value, I think. I mean, Sabonis was just much better.
Just quickly, would you rather have Vooch for $20 million a year or Jock Landale for 8?
Jock Landale for 8.
Yeah, I think I would.
Which
think
I do
would.
kind of wonder about, like the middle class of the NBA, because I do think we're gonna have these like insane extensions, and I'm gonna keep going through this list. And maybe we go a little bit quicker through some of the next names, but it kind of seems like you're either getting these guys with like huge dollar value or like low dollar value, and I know the new CBA rule, you can't piecemeal together a lot of guys' salaries if you're over the second apron. I kind of wonder if people are like, well, if we can't cobble together the couple of 15 mil salaries, we either need to have guys at these high salaries or guys at these low salaries. I do kind of wonder if that might cut out some of the middle class.
I have one more note about Vucevic before we move on. I texted my grandma about the extension, and I said, "Do you like Vucevic?" And she said, "He is okay, just very inconsistent." And then I also texted her later, "Do you like Andre Drummond?" Because they brought him back, and she said, "I can't remember."
Yeah.
So that's her input.
All right. Jordan Clarkson, 55 mil for 3 years. Better or worse than Sabonis?
Yeah, I would take Sabonis. Jordan Clarkson's not that good. I mean, he's good, right?
Yeah.
Is he
he's
gonna make
good.
our top 100 when we do it? Top like 80? It's like
Yeah.
90, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Okay. Then we're gonna skip over Harry Barnes. LaMelo Ball, 260 million. We're looking at over 50 million a season for 5 years.
I like this bonus extension, and I don't think I'm like being a blatant homer. I do like LaMelo Ball, but goddamn, not that much.
Yeah, I think like LaMelo Ball is probably like the 15th best point guard in the NBA, and he's
Goddamn.
making like $50 million. Like you do.
Well, hey,
like
let's count it out. We got Curry,
Sure. Yeah.
Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic. I'm gonna double count Kyrie. Like I know both him and Luka, they're on the same team, but are both point guards. So that's 4. We should take Tyrese Halliburton, another man who got 260 for 5.
Definitely.
All right, that's 5.
SGA, Dame,
SGA. I already said Dame.
Fox,
Fox. Yeah, I'd take Fox over him.
Jamal Murray,
Murray. Yeah.
Jalen Brunson.
Do we count Ja?
Yeah,
I
I'd
would
take Ja over him.
Take it, Joe.
I'm not 100% sure that I'd lock in Brunson, but for the sake
Do
of
we get
argument,
De'Aaron Fox?
Mhm.
We're so
got-
out of order. Hang on. I've got a
we're
list
at
of point
10.
guards. Let's go from the top so we don't lose it. All right, Luka, Steph,
Mhm.
Dame, Shea, Ja, Kyrie,
Yep.
Fox.
Yeah.
What's that? That's 7.
That's 7. We
Um,
were at 10.
Drew.
No.
I think he's in that class
Not
with
Drew?
Drew at this
You think
age.
LaMelo is better than Drew Holiday?
Yeah, so at
Holiday's
this
like
point,
33. I mean, he's getting. I just don't see the.
I'm not saying for
Heading
the
into
life of the
next
contract, but like
Yeah.
as
Wait,
of right
yeah.
now.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I still think right now,
That's
like
crazy.
they're in the comparable range of where like I wouldn't fight anyone if they were on either side.
Well,
So I think
will
we're gonna
fight you,
land
mate.
like we're gonna land like 12. I did do my I
Yeah.
did my like rough draft top 100. I did have Drew over LaMelo by quite a bit, but yeah, you're looking at like DeJounte Murray if he's playing point guard, and
Trae Young,
James
Jalen
Harden.
Oh, Trae Young
Darius
was an idiot,
Garland.
so
Garland, I'd rather have Garland. I think 15's about right. We're never gonna fully count this out because we're idiots, but
Yeah.
Even with a numbered list in front of me, I still can't count.
But
All right.
I do think so. 15.
But the point stands.
The point
He's like
stands.
he's like an average starting point guard at this point.
Where Sabonis is a really special center in terms of.
Yeah, and Sabonis is like a top 5 player at this position. So it's like,
Man, I'm very jealous. We ran.
Whoa.
Yesterday.
Please note the date and time. Dylan has finally conceded that Sabonis is a top 5 player at this position.
Just don't make me count it out, or we might get to like 9.
I'm hyped, man. Okay.
All right.
Is
Halliburton?
gotta be
260 for 5?
I take Halliburton. I would.
That hurts as a Kings fan, right?
It does and it doesn't. I went to a Kings playoff game this year. Nate, nothing matters anymore.
Fair enough. Desmond Bane, 207 for 5.
I'd rather have the Sabonis extension, and I don't hate the Bane extension. Super special 3-point shooter, plays good defense. I didn't feel like he was $200 million special.
Yeah, I mean Desmond Bane's probably like a. I'm gonna just keep throwing out numbers. He's probably like a top 10 shooting guard, and Sabonis is a bit better than that.
Pull up that list. See how long it takes to get through.
To be fair, the shooting guard position is a weaker position.
It's a very weak position.
Like,
and he's not. I don't think he's top 5. Like Sabonis is possibly, if I don't think about it too hard.
Also, before anyone says it, I thought about James Harden for the point guards list. I'm not sure I take James Harden and over LaMelo Ball at this point.
I refuse to watch either of them play basketball.
For winning games in this coming season, James Harden is like twice as good as LaMelo Ball. And I don't even like him that much.
Did you guys see my video?
Listen, you have to slowly start to like him because there's like a 50-50 chance at this point he's playing on your Clippers next year.
That's true. You better start figuring that out. I went back and I went through all of Harden's playoff games and by game score. When he was good in the playoffs, what game in a playoff series, and it goes increasing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then decreasing 5, 6, 7. And so as soon as game 4 is over, it's just downhill from there.
How are LaMelo's playoff game scores?
9. Hey, you got me.
Listen, they don't get worse in Game 7.
That's true. He's never.
So one thing you can say, he's never sucked in a Game 7.
Is that the last extension?
That is the last extension.
Do you guys want to give me? Do you like what the Kings have done the offseason? Are you upset about it? Do you love it?
I feel like the Kings kind of had 2 directions that they could go, and neither of them were like super amazing. So it was either like kind of bring it all back, re-sign Harrison Barnes, try to make some improvement around the fringes. Extend Sabonis, don't extend Sabonis, doesn't matter. And then the other option is those 2 that you mentioned, which is like overpay for Kyle Kuzma and get marginally better, or way overpay for Draymond Green and ruin your cap for the next 5 years. And so I think faced with those 2 options, this is probably the better option, and they did pretty well. Harrison Barnes is good value. He's a starting caliber player that they paid, pretty reasonably, looking at what starting caliber players get nowadays.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate that.
I'm very disappointed in it.
This is bullshit. Nate's probably say something ridiculous. Go ahead.
Well, so here's the thing. I think
you're bringing LeBron out of our ass.
You're bringing back the same team, and so I don't know why you would expect different results. Like, I don't think that this team is necessarily going to get much better. I think we're going to see a bit of a Keegan Murray improvement, maybe even a bit of a Fox and Sabonis improvement. Duarte. You got the European guy.
Yeah.
Zemkov, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Zemkov.
He's former EuroLeague MVP, but I saw a great breakdown where they're like, all right, how good is a EuroLeague MVP? And it's like, well, we had Nikola Mirotic. Like,
yeah, I think that's the peak. That's when I envision what he can be is about Nikola Mirotic, which would
Nikola
be good.
Mirotic is like a starting caliber NBA player.
Yeah, he'd be like, good right now.
He's in Europe by his own choice, not because NBA teams don't want him.
Yeah, if we had Mirotic, I'd love that. Because we really struggled with size. Basically, we had five guards that we played minutes, and we were small in the wings. We had a rookie
Yeah.
and Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I think this team is kind of what it is.
Mhm.
It will make the playoffs again. You will get to go to
Yeah.
another playoff game.
Woo!
And if you have a good matchup where like you don't have to play the Warriors in the 3-6 or the Lakers as a 2-7, like you get a normal 6 or 7 seed. I don't think you guys will be the 2 seed this year. Hate to say that, but if you guys get like a normal high seed advantage because you've got the continuity factor, you've got young players who have health. I could see a second round team, but I don't see the championship hopes for this team. I don't think you got closer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just make the playoffs twice in a row. Let's start there. Let's try to build a little bit of a culture.
Yeah. For a young team that's decided to just go with continuity, the hope for playoff, a deep run comes from internal improvement from young guys. And Fox, could still have another level to go to. And then Keegan Murray is sort of the big swing piece. Where does he end up?
Can I take a moment to read Aaron and I's text exchange?
Please.
Uh, it was after you guys had signed the Barnes extension. I messaged you and said it prevents the Kuzma overpay. You're like, that's the important part. That's what matters here. And I responded, that's shattering all my hopes and dreams. And you said that I tried to wish the plague upon you. To which I said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's what I want. I want the Kings to grow. I want them to be forged in the fighters of the crucible.
Stop giving me your hardest battles. I've done this already. I think the Kings from like 2017, even like 2015 would have been like, it's like, holy shit, we can get Rudy Gay. Like, oh my god, Rajon Rondo's available. That's the Kyle Kuzma signing. And we didn't do it. Like we dodged that. Kings of the past would have done that in 10 seconds. And I'm like, really? We can get Rudy Gay? Like and win 30 games?
Yeah. All right, Dylan, what's our next team?
Probably like the biggest movers this offseason, the Houston Rockets.
The hell are they building? I just want to see one whiteboard in the Houston like front office and be like, our goals X, Y, and Z. Like I know you have to sign good players at some point. Why these ones? Why these? Why these players at this price? Um, it's just an odd fit. I think they'll be better than last season, obviously, and they'll be better than the past 3 seasons where they were like the worst team in the league all 3 years. But they signed Dylan Brooks, who shoots 40% from the field, and Van Fleet that shoots 40% from the field. They already have Jalen Green, who shoots 40% from the field, and Jabari Smith shoots like 40% from the field. I have to watch this team in practice.
They
Not
also
in
gave up
practice, but like in the game.
they also gave up the one rocket that I said I liked. I forget who asked that a few weeks back, but you were like, which of these rockets do you like? And I said Kenyon Martin Jr. I was like, listen, I like this guy's energy. I like his hustle. And whichever one of you called me out on it, you're like, yeah, he will be on another team by the time Houston gets good.
That's what I'm saying, man. All those guys are going to be gone.
They are gone.
The Rockets have been really busy just shuffling out lots of their players. It's a good pickup for Dylan's Clippers, Kenny Barton Jr. He's
Love it.
just pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw him play in high school. It's my contribution to this.
I do hate what Houston's trying to do. Like I like the idea of bringing in veterans. And not to like segue off to a different team, but the Pistons. The Pistons absorbed the contract of um, fuck, uh, Harris, Joe Harris. Why can't I think of his name? The shooter, Brooklyn. Someone save
Yeah,
me.
Joe Harris, you got
Joe
it.
Harris.
And then they got the contract for Monte Morris. This as well. These are two veteran presences. Relatively low dollar amounts, but that will really help and won't disrupt the team. Fred Van Vliet, he is now going to be the ball dominant guy, and I guess he can orchestrate the things, but he's not like I don't know. I've never really raved about his orchestration. I like his defense. He'll stop Shangoon from being just utterly picked on every single possession. He'll cut that down to every other possession, maybe, but like it's a massive overpay for what he's going to bring to your team. The Dylan Brooks contract, when free agency was like a week out, there was a report that he was looking to get 15 to 17 mil. And then like as it got closer, like he may have to take a 10 to 12 mil contract. And then it was like, oh no, he's just going to get 20 a year. Okay. Who, why? Who saw that one coming?
I'm going to disagree with you. Actually, I like what they did. Like at a certain point, you got to get better. And Houston has this massive problem of they're just like an incredibly immature team with, a real lack of culture and leadership. And
Let's bring in Dylan Brooks.
you bring in Fred VanVleet, a proven winner, a true professional, a guy that hustled from, not the Jalen Green kind of, prospect. A
Yeah,
guy
the
that just built
undrafted, the G League.
exactly bet on himself multiple times, built his way up, a professional, and on the court, like pretty much as good as you could hope for from a point guard alongside Jalen Green. He can he can play on the ball even if he's not the greatest orchestrator. He can play off the ball because he can shoot and he can defend. Like I don't really know what more you could want from a player alongside Jalen Green. Um, and then from the cap perspective, like, did they overpay? Probably. Like, is Fred VanVleet a max player? No. But Houston had such low opportunity cost with this signing because they had so much cap space and because all of their young players are still locked in on their rookie scale contracts that, even if we say, it's not just about this year that matters, but it's about the following years. Well, these guys aren't getting big raises within that Fred VanVleet contract. And so there's so little opportunity cost from a money perspective that you just get the best guy available and you pay what it takes, and it'll make your team and better on the court and off the court. I don't want my young players locked in on losing and setting bad habits. Fred VanVleet, I think, is a guy that can make a difference.
The culture fit is a thing. That does make sense. I'm not entirely sure that Dylan Brooks is like your best case when you're trying to say, hey, these were culture signings. But yeah, Fred VanVleet will be a worker. It will teach the guys how to go for it. I'm
I will
just
say that, sorry, with Dylan
no,
Brooks, like, is he, a fucking dickhead? Sure. But like he cares about winning, like he doesn't want to lose. He's not going to be okay with going out there
that's true.
and
That's
playing
very
like
true.
shit. And I mean, like he will play like shit, but he's not going to be content with like his team going out there and doing that every night and losing a bunch of games. Um, you know, he cares about winning.
I respect him. I really do respect it because you do have to turn the culture around, and I've seen a lot of bad culture over the years. I know what it looks like. Um, just out of curiosity, how many wins do you envision the Rockets getting next season? This could be anyone. Go ahead,
Yeah,
guys. Not all at once.
when you got like it's tough because like I don't I'm not looking at like the entire Western Conference, but it feels like a like a high 30s win team.
Okay.
I mean, someone in the conference has to win less than 35 games. Like it will probably be three teams will win less than 35 games. I don't know that I see the Spurs jumping up that high. I think they will be better. It sounds like they're going to try to make some more moves, but like, yeah, they're not going to get there. Portland, they only won 33 if they give up Dame. I don't think they're going to be better than that. And I think Houston probably is also still that third worst team, even after all of these moves. that they're burning it down. Get that? They pissed me off. Burn it down. I texted you when the Heat let Struess and Caleb Martin go, and I was like, they have got to be clearing room. Like you got to try to bring those guys back unless you know something. And like less than 6 hours later, they're like, Dame's requesting a
Do
trade.
we want to go into the Blazer spiel?
Yeah, might as well.
What a disaster. I feel like Dame's like half in, half out. He meets with the owner. All right, guys, we're committed to winning. We shook hands, all's good. And like a week later, he's like on Instagram Live, like, I need to see more talent around me or something. And it's just this ridiculous back and forth. And then they got stuck with this grant contract. They're like, they got broken up with on vacation. You still have to fly back together. You're stuck with this because I know that contract is because Dame was like, this is my 5-step plan. I need you to re-sign Grant, go get Draymond. I want that to happen. I want this to happen. And then when none of that happened, he's like, all right, guys, good work. I'm out of here. And you're stuck with step number 1 done.
I love the change in tone from both sides of this, because there was like this idea that, like Dane's is such a loyal guy, and that, the organization is all about him, and like if it does come down to it, they'll work together to move forward, in a mutually beneficial way. And now that it has come out, like they're both just kind of like fuck you to each other. Like there's the trade request, and then the Blazers put out this, statement that's like, well, we wanted to continue to build around Dame and build a winner, but he decided that he wants to leave. And then, Dame is like, yeah, well, this organization failed me. Like, I want to win, but they fucking suck. I just love that they both just like instantly turn on each other as soon as like this thing that should have happened years ago is finally happening.
We all thought it was too much mutual respect. No, it was just ready to backstab each other at any moment.
How do you guys feel about the Grant contract? Is it fine that they have an expensive babysitter for the young team they're about to have, or is it just a ridiculous like Greek tragedy that's happening in Portland?
He's gonna get Tobias Harris. Like, like he's gonna be Toby for the next couple of years. Of like, man, he probably would be useful. And like, yeah, Harris kind of said the same thing of like, hey, I am a 6'9" wing who can defend and shoot and play make a bit.
Okay, all right. Okay, Tobias, all right.
Here's the thing: if Tobias Harris was like on a $20 million a year contract,
You'd want that, yeah.
everyone would fight for him. But what is that, like last year at 40, and now Grant's going to be 60 or 160 over 5 years. Like,
Damn.
yeah,
Damn. God damn.
yeah.
I watched the Blazers beat us in Sacramento, and I thought Grant was good. I thought he was just a bad matchup for the Kings specifically because he's bigger than Harrison Barnes and faster than Keegan Murray. I don't think he's a bad player at all, but it's clearly a contract meant for a timeline that isn't happening anymore.
Here's his numbers from last year. I pulled them up: 20 points per game, 4.5 rebounds. I'm gonna need some more rebounds from this guy. 2.4 assists. I'm gonna need some more for passing. If all what you are bringing is that 20 points, that is not a good sign. It's an efficient in 20 points. It's 40% from three, 47.5 field goal. Like it's fine. It's decent scoring, but not at that price point. It's going to be the next Tobias Harris,
He's basically Harrison Barnes that can score better. In the
who
rebounding
was
and
the
the
old
passing
Tobias
is
Harris.
exactly. Everyone is just like a different version of Tobias Harris. LeBron is just good Tobias Harris. Kevin
Yeah, he's
Durant is
just like a
skinny
better
Tobias
Tobias.
Harris. Yeah. Jokic
Isn't
is
he?
white Tobias Harris.
Russell Westbrook's just short Tobias
Yeah,
Harris.
exactly.
Isn't he kind of just like in this role and on this contract, like when the Pistons first signed him? And it's like, why are you bringing in this veteran and overpaying him on your rebuilding team? And then they, eventually parted ways. Isn't he just like Pistons Jeremy Grant, like version 2, but um, the Pistons Jeremy like found a way to elevate his play to make him closer in value to what he was getting paid. Whereas now he's like, man, unless he becomes MVP, he's not getting there.
It's also a shorter thing because the Pistons signed him for $20 million for 3 seasons. This is now 160. I don't know what that divides out to by season. What is that? Like 33 mil a year, 32 mil a year for 5. So it's like it's a longer contract. It is more. It's scary.
We've also just reached this era where these trades are preposterous. And every team just wants to fleece this shit of each other, and they want the KD package, and they're looking for this, and there's no more like and I was going through old basketball stuff the other day and just looking at like what the Clipper or what the Sixers got for Charles Barkley and Moses Malone and all that. Where if they traded a guy, they were like, "Fuck it, anything's good." And then we moved into the all right. It takes the Anthony Davis package. Like you better some picks and some young players. And now it's like every asset you've ever owned, every asset that you've ever looked at, every asset your mom's ever owned, and your grandfather's had like 6 generations of assets belong to us if you want this star player. And like the
Um,
Sixers with Embiid and the Blazers with Dame, and I'm sure they're looking at each other like, I want that guy, and let's swap stars. But like, no, I want your star, I want your star, and nothing ever happens. I just can't imagine the Blazers are like, I'll take Tyler Hero in 3 first. Like, awesome, sign me up. A team that's always good, that's been good for the entire existence, and like a mediocre shooting guard. I'll take that. I have no idea what this package is gonna look like.
Would you rather have Tyler Hero and 3 firsts or Ben Simmons and 4 firsts?
I'd rather have the player that plays in basketball games. I would take
Ben
that
Simmons
one.
and 5 firsts.
I still do have a little Ben Simmons hope. He was hurt. He was hurt.
The Simmons, it's not a good hope for him and Scoot. Like,
That's true. Hey, I have Shaden Sharp in my fantasy dynasty league that we're doing.
that is a great move because he's going to put up a lot of
I'm
shots
hyped.
this
I'm
next year.
excited.
I don't want anything to do with a guy that like photoshops his muscles bigger in Instagram posts.
That's true. That's yeah. God, he did do that.
That is a subtle shot. I don't appreciate that, Dylan. I thought thought it was didn't think it was that noticeable.
All right. Good Blazers talk.
All right. I can't believe you guys are going to make me do this. I'm nominating the Lakers.
Smart. It's a smart thing to do.
You know, at this point, the only free agent that we've really lost is Schroeder. Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba still have yet to sign. We've brought in, or first, I should say, we re-signed or we opted in Vanderbilt's contract, which is huge. 4.7 mil, great. We got Reeves for a fucking steal. I cannot believe that someone didn't just want to fuck with the Lakers. Got Gabe Vincent, nice point guard, playoff ball. Well, space the floor. Finally, got someone that's good point of attack defender. I mean, Schroeder actually did a really good job for us. I don't want to downplay. Got a couple of flyers, Cam Reddish, Hayes, good roller to the rim. Yeah, hit him with the lob. I feel like he could be a little bit of like JaVale McGee to a lesser extent. Just like a poor man's JaVale McGee, or like a taller, more athletic, less skilled Tobias Harris on a minimum contract. Just to bring that back. But no, I really like what we did. We've got some continuity. Almost all these were 2-year deals. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah,
We're coming for the 1 seed.
it was I mean, this the Reeves deal on its own. Not that I didn't think, not that I wasn't surprised that someone didn't throw 100 million just to fuck with the Lakers. I thought he was worth that much. I thought if it was 4 for 100, because that's what Kuzma got. I like Austin Reeves way more than I like Kyle Kuzma, or even heading into the Chris Middleton like 3 for 100. At that point, the 4 for 100 for Reeves seemed reasonable because Reeves is really good last year. Like he legitimately was closing playoff games and was pretty good at it. I liked the Gabe Vincent signing. I hated the D'Angelo Russell signing. I don't think D'Angelo Russell is very good. That's just the basis of my argument, is that I don't think he's very good. And
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't like him either, but they didn't really lose anything by signing him and didn't pay him, a huge amount of money if you look at what, like, other players are making. But yeah, like, Austin Reeves, like, really got screwed by being a restricted free agent. You'd imagine if he was unrestricted, the offers would have been there, but it's just that, for these teams that are trying to improve their team and improve their rosters, like, you can't just always afford to have an offer sheet just sitting there for, days on end as every other free agent gets signed and then, only for the Lakers to match your offer.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, like I was also surprised that like the Dylan Brooks contract for Austin Reeves wouldn't have been better for Houston.
Oh yeah.
4 for 100 for Austin Reeves. I would have done that if I was Houston. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you can only imagine that it came down to like being screwed because he's a restricted free agent and teams not wanting that offer sheet sitting there for ages, and probably some good intel that the Lakers were going to match if they had to.
I
Also,
also
the Hachimura re-signing 3 for 51,
mm,
which is basically Barnes money, and I see those guys as pretty much
yeah.
equal. I mean, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh hey, Kings kept Trey Lyles, right?
They did, yeah.
It's
Two
another
for
positive.
16. Very happy about that. He's good.
I just want to take a moment. I believe it was Max Keller. It could have been Colin Cowherd. Went on a rant about the Lakers paying Reeves too much. The classic zag.
Weird.
Yeah. He compared Reeves' career points per game, and I think it was assists and rebounds, to Grayson Allen, and was like, "Hey, their career averages are the same. Why are you paying Reeves so much?" To which one, that is just disingenuous. That is dumb. Reeves played a previous year, wasn't that good, and Reeves continued to ramp it up. Reeves coming off the bench at the start of the year, 11 points per game, 11.9 as a starter for 22 games, 15 points per game. In the playoffs, that is jumping up to 16.9 points per game. And do you want to guess what this man's true shooting was? The efficiency of Hillbilly Kobe?
Like 60%.
I'm going to let you know he does get to the free throw line a reasonable amount, more than you would expect. It's the line 4 times a game.
Yeah. That's my final guess because yeah.
Dylan?
I was looking at his stats, so I have cheated.
It's just me.
I didn't mean to, but I have cheated.
Aaron, would it surprise you to hear that he had the fourth
Aaron,
highest true shooting?
it's a very nice percentage.
Is it 69%?
Yeah, we're gonna round
Okay.
this up. It's 68.7, but we're gonna just call it 69.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love this. We're
Yeah.
going for the 1 seed.
I think I don't think that's crazy. If I mean you are for the first 15 games before Anthony Davis sprains his ankle, but
Yeah,
given health, the team will be really scary.
yeah. All right, Aaron, who's your next team?
Um, dun, 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 dun. Can I give 15 seconds on Memphis signing Derrick Rose? I just think that's cool. I like he
Yeah,
went to
yeah, we can
college in
talk.
Memphis. All right, moving on.
Guns N'
Um,
Roses shut out.
yeah, that's awesome. Uh, can we do a brief moment on? No, let's get the brief moment. Can we talk about the Sixers? The James Harden
Yeah,
debacle. They also signed Patrick Beverly for 1 year, 3.2 million. I think he's a great fit there. Just the city's gonna love him. But James Harden, trade request champion 3 times, top of
Never
the
been
league.
done before in the history of the NBA.
He's three-peated as the trade request champ.
on the low post, Zach Lowe made a comment of he has as many trade requests as he has 2 for 11 games in pivotal moments, and he's like, you really hope that number for a guy is 0, but it's not.
It's crazy watching because he was like a decade of stability in Houston,
Hmm.
and he's just lost his fucking mind as soon as he got out of there. And the Brooklyn thing wasn't all him, and now the Philly thing wasn't all him. But it's just like at this point, I have no idea what his market value is. I know Morey's going to want a lot for him, but he's getting older. He's expensive. Doesn't play well at the end of the season.
I
People aren't lining up for like, oh, I want James Harden. Give me the James Harden experience for, especially if you're giving up stars in return.
Yeah, I found a bar that just shows NBA TV, and they're just playing game reruns. So I got to watch. I forget if it was Game 6 or Game 7, but the Durant toe on the line game in Brooklyn the other day. I was just at a bar and it was on. It's a great day. I like made my wife watch. I'm like that toe changes everything. That toe, because Harden gets a ring. All of the monkeys are off their backs. Like the chaos of the last 2 years melts away with that toe. And now I think he's going to end up a Clipper. I The Knicks have more to offer, but I feel like they're a little bit more reluctant, and I would hope that they stay more reluctant. Like I think if you put Grimes and Quickly in the deal, he's a Knick. I don't think you want to do that. They also just gave up Obi Toppin for nothing.
Can you
Um,
imagine the Sixers doing that though? Being like, yeah, sure, we'll take fucking scraps from whoever. I can't
I mean,
picture them doing that.
they're taking someone's scraps. It might be Miami's scraps if the Lillard thing doesn't happen. I also think Philly's not going to want to trade him to the Knicks. There's enough Philly New York stuff that you probably want to get him out of there. But
I
Dylan,
just don't want to
how
fall for it again. The Ben Simmons
sure.
thing. Where it's like, oh, they're not gonna get Harden for him. And then he's like, fucking watch this.
Yeah.
Waits 8 months until everyone's like, I can't do it anymore. Fine, take James Harden.
I think there's a huge difference though between James Harden and Ben Simmons, just in terms of like the way that they approach wanting to be traded. Like where Ben Simmons just stays at home and or like shows up to practice and slides or whatever. Like James Harden will, wear a fat suit, go out onto the court, chuck up shots and lose you games. Like this man does not fuck around when it comes to his trade requests. He's like, you don't want to trade me, I will make you regret it. And so, like, I think for the sake of the Sixers, who like have the reigning MVP, their goal has to be coming into the season to win a championship. I just don't think you can afford to, go 30 games of James Harden losing you games and ruining your vibes.
I do kind of like the idea of Embiid's just like, fuck it. I don't need James Harden. I don't need Ben Simmons. Fuck a second star. We're going. All I need is Tyrese Maxey and shooters around me, and I'm gonna actually dunk the basketball. And I want to see like that switch flip. It's not gonna
It
happen.
will. I mean, it'll flip for about as long as the Davis switch flips.
Mm.
Like he'll get hurt. He will blow something out.
Yeah, that is the issue with being like, all right, like Embiid's our number one guy, 30% usage rate or something. Is he can't handle that? He can't handle
Yeah.
that kind of wear and tear.
All right. I'm segueing us to the Clippers because I think that's where we're going. Dylan, are you gonna be okay?
And like, I don't really know what you expect from the Clippers in this offseason. Like, they like picked up KJ Martin, which is good. They saved a little bit of money by getting rid of Gordon. Like, I mean, like, what are you expecting of them? Other than the big swing.
I'm
Um,
expecting the big swing.
yeah. Like if you can get Damian Lillard, then like,
No.
you know,
The
if
medium swing. The double, not the home run.
like otherwise, like what are you giving up for James Harden? If like you can get James Harden for Norm Powell, Robert Covington, and BJ Boston, then sure. But I don't want to give up actual assets for a guy who like doesn't solve any of the things that are problems with the Clippers. Like, how does he improve our, late game, deep playoff performance and availability? Like that's what the Clippers need.
Just waiting on the Paul George trade request. Just
I'm pretty sure.
sitting by the campfire, waiting. That's coming in. Eventually, he's gonna be like, "I want to be traded," and that's when it happens.
I'm pretty sure Achilles are stress related injuries, right? Just
Yeah, that makes sense.
overstressing these muscles. You want to know how James Harden's gonna help? He's gonna take some of that stress off of Kawhi. He's gonna be taking him to the strip clubs. He's gonna be taking him, to
Oh, you meant that kind
to
of
the
stress.
party.
I thought you meant like on-court stress because Kawhi will just stand there as James Harden dribbles the ball.
Oh, I mean that too, but far be it from me to imply that he's going to have the ball in his hands or be a productive player on the court. I'm talking about what we know, what we can count on James Harden to do, and that's you know take Kawhi to the strip club where he can be a fun guy and he can relax and maybe stave off some injuries.
Dylan, how'd you feel about the Westbrook extension or new contract? 2 for 8, 2 years, $8 million.
Yeah, like he was fine last season, and they are paying him an incredibly small amount of money. So, like, sure.
I would take Westbrook back on LA, the other LA, the Lakers, for 4 mil a season. Like
What's better, D'Angelo Russell for 18 or Russell Westbrook for 4?
D'Angelo Russell for 18. Eh,
Honestly, I disagree.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's kind of nuts coming from me. I really don't like D'Angelo Russell that much. And I thought, I mean, he was borderline unplayable towards the end of last season.
Oh, he was unplayable.
They weren't playing
They
him.
benched him. I don't think he starts this year. I saw someone do a Lakers
No,
projected
hell no.
lineups. I
Hell
think
no.
I think it's Gabe Vincent and Reeves in the backcourt.
Yeah, it's a lot. 18 million seems crisp for someone who sucks on defense and takes bad shots.
It's a nice trade asset. It's a short deal.
Sure. I'll accept that.
Pair that with some future picks. And if you don't re-sign him, you don't have that salary slot. And like, what else were we gonna do? Try to bring back Malik Beasley, who is also unplayable.
Can we run the gauntlet on middling teams? The Bulls, the Wizards, and the Raptors.
The run it back squads.
The running back. Wizards re-signed Kyle Kuzma for 102.
The only thing they've done this offseason that I haven't liked.
That's fair. Raptors. Jakob Poeltl 4 for 80. How do you guys feel about that one?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just and like Van Vliet was good, and he's losing him is going to be huge. They're appearingly they're going to place him with Schroeder, and I'm not super into that.
For a team that like needed to make big improvements to like perform up to their expectations, overpaying Jakob Poeltl and then swapping Van Vliet for Dennis Schroeder is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Not good.
I would much rather have that Schroeder contract and performance than D'Angelo Russell.
I agree. And then the Bulls, Vucevic. I do like Kobe White, and the Javon Carter 3 for 20 is actually like that's a really nice contract. But you're still stuck in this. Like, can you when you close your eyes, can you imagine the Bulls winning like 55 games without passing out?
I still don't think the Bulls are done. Like,
They won't be bad.
I can't picture them coming back with Rosen, Levine,
Oh, you
and
think they're
DeMar.
not done in moves? Okay.
Yeah. I think they are. I think they're going to do something bigger. I've heard that there's a lot of talk within the organization that they thought they're closer to Miami and making the finals, and I think.
What do they mean by that? Like by like geography?
No, like they're closer. They were up against Miami in the
Jeez.
in the
Yeah, no, they
play-in
were. They
games,
were.
and they're like, oh yeah, no, if we had just finished that out, and then Giannis got hurt, we could have done the same thing. We could have made the finals. We have the core. We almost eliminated a finals team. To which, like, when you have that buddy that's dating that girl, and you're like, he's like, yeah, I think we can make it work. You're like, no, you guys are not good for each other. That's just what Chicago needs to realize and needs to pivot one way or the other and just let it die.
I think it's more like by that heat analogy, it's like when your buddy gets like a girlfriend that's a lot hotter than him, and then like is single for so long because he thinks he's still on like caliber with these really hot girls. Like that's what the Bulls are doing. Like you just need to understand who you are.
Like, bro, it's been 6 years. Let her go.
You're balding.
I mean, You're 30 now, man. It's over.
Man, I made the joke at my own expense, and then you threw in your 30 now, and hurts.
um, how do you guys feel about the Kyrie contract? Kyrie extension with the Mavs, 3 for 126. I like that it's short.
Yeah. I think the third year is a player option.
Ooh, I actually don't know.
I feel like I saw that
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah,
I
third year
think that's
player
right.
option. Yeah, that's good.
And
That
like from
he's
the
gonna.
perspective of the Mavs, normally you don't want to give out player options because the idea is like if a player's outperforming that value, he'll decline and then it's more difficult for you. But it may actually be a good thing to give Kyrie a player option because like if he's gonna be like a fucking dickhead, which is like a 50-50 chance, like he has the opportunity to leave you earlier, which you would actually want.
Exactly.
Yeah. My only thing about it is I think he will opt out of it, kind of no matter what. Like unless he is just completely gone, he opts out and says, "Listen, you can't replace me, so now I want another 3-year deal," and it just kind of steamrolls that way.
So
Whereas if it
Luca
had
will
been,
probably have requested a trade by then. You know, you can
yeah,
move off of Kyrie and rebuild.
Do you think the
of
Mavs win over 51 games this season?
no,
Remind me who else they signed? They brought in
so
someone.
Kyrie
They
is the
made some sort of
best
move.
guard.
Seth Curry and Dante Exum.
Dante Exum, my man, coming back.
I like the Seth Curry like deal.
Oh yeah,
It's 2 years for about 9 million, and he's a fantastic shooter. And I mean that was a good move.
the one thing is that he has like zero defensive mobility.
Mhm.
And if you try to run a Kyrie, Luca, and Curry lineup at the same time, that is just gonna it's
The
gonna
barbecue chicken lineup.
it's gonna make Dwight Powell look very, very incompetent on defense.
They're going to be
Poor,
one of the worst defenses in the league again. That's I
poor
can
Reggie Bullock, man. Like he's out there with Dwight Powell, Kyrie, and Luca, just trying to hold it all together. Maybe even playing the four next to Tim Hardaway Jr.
That reminds me, and I'm trying to look it up right now, but I haven't heard anything on Christian Wood. Have you guys heard any Christian Wood rumors?
I have not. I'm not plugged into the league like that. I just don't get the Christian Wood thing. I understand why Jason Kidd didn't play him. His efforts inconsistent and he's not good on defense. Someone's gonna sign him. But I'm so happy that the Christian Wood thing flamed out in Dallas because that's something I really stuck to making videos and people are like Christian Wood, underrated all-star, like first time
Six
all
man of the year.
26 man of the year, 20 and 10 with Luca. And like, no. Like no fucking way he's doing any of that. And of course he did.
A little hurtful.
Sorry.
I'm a Wood guy. Athletic big man who can block shots when he chooses
If you
to.
ever have to say if he chooses to and when he tries or effort issues, just go somewhere else. Get a different player. Try again.
Do you know about Benoit Benjamin?
Sounds very familiar.
I did a TikTok about him not too long ago. I'm gonna pull up the Dick Vitale quote here. Um, it is absolutely the most brutal, heart wrenching thing I have ever read when reading about a player. Uh, Television announcer Dick Vitale, after announcing a game, says he has a 00 on his back. He wore number 00. But he should add another 0 because I give him a 0 for his offensive attitude, a 0 for his defensive attitude, a 0 for his mental attitude. He's a flat out disgrace to everyone who has ever worn a basketball uniform.
Sounds like a champion, Nate. He's just when he tries, if he really puts it together, Luca's gonna bring out the consistent effort for him.
Yeah, I'm just at this point the salary cap money is starting to get eaten up, team salary. So someone's going to sign him cheap. This could be a minimum guy. This could be, hey, I'm the fourth string big on Boston. just like that extra insurance for when Porzingis and Robert Williams miss some games. I think Christian Wood, all-star, way too much hype for that. But like, man, third big on a team, that's some real good value.
Did you
Hey,
guys?
Clippers haven't brought
Sorry, go
back
ahead.
Plumlee yet. Maybe that's the spot.
Plumlee signed, and with where did Plumlee go?
Did you?
No,
Because
don't tell me that we lost Plumlee.
you lost Plumlee. No, no, I could have sworn you guys lost Plum Dog. Riveting radio.
No, he didn't. He's still a free agent.
Oh yeah, it was Zeller that signed somewhere else.
Mm.
Is he not the same person?
It's close. Did you guys see Miles Bridges accepted the qualifying offer of $8 million?
Yeah.
He's back.
He probably should have just done that a year ago.
Mm.
Yeah. So he has a 30-game suspension, which the league said they will declare it served after 10 games since he missed the entire year.
That's fucking bullshit.
Right?
Enough with the goddamn, like, oh, he already missed some time, so his suspension's only 10 games. That's ridiculous. Suspend him. David Stern would fix this. You would have Miles Bridges suspended for decades, for eons,
It's like if
until the heat death of the universe. Miles Bridges be suspended.
It's like if there was like a fugitive, and then it's like, okay, we're giving you, 10 years in prison, but you've been on the run from the cops for the last 5 years, so we'll consider that time served.
Yeah, exactly. Punishments when you get caught, man.
Yeah. I'm not excited to have him back in the league. I mean,
He is an exciting player.
he's exciting, but I'm not excited to have him back. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
we were very pro Miles Bridges. He became like Nico's guy after the All-Star break, like 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, of like, hey, I think this guy's gonna really pop off next year. And we did our top 100 and we ranked him probably like 30, 40 spots higher because Nico's like, these were his post All-Star break stats. And then he exploded and like he was a Hoops Temple favorite. He's an MSU grad. Um, and then like I don't know, I just dude beat his significant other. He beat a woman, and I just like I don't know. I don't like having that in the league. I don't enjoy the fact that that's something that we're gonna have to cheer for.
Totally fair. Totally reasonable. Does really make the Hornet season interesting with Brandon Miller and LaMelo and Miles Bridges. They're not going to be a tank. I mean, there's no way they're a tanking team again in terms of. I think they wouldn't have been if LaMelo didn't get hurt. I think they definitely would have gone for those playing spots, and I think they're going to go for it this season.
I mean,
Sure.
the 15th best point guard in the league, a rookie forward, and a guy that hasn't played in over a year. Like, I don't think that's a playing team.
Let me look at how many games did they win last season? I feel like it was.
Well, don't forget about Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, they won 27 games, but they tank. Like LaMelo played 36 games.
I think they're like the most unlikable team in the league.
Except for Mark Williams and Teo Maladon.
I mean, you got like LaMelo, who just seems like the world's biggest douchebag. You got, Miller and Bridges and their legal troubles. You got Gordon Hayward, devout Trump supporter. Like, it's a very easy team to root against.
That's true.
But they do have Svi Mikhailuk.
Sviatoslav.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the Eastern Conference, they were. Damn, they really sucked. They won 27 games. I don't think they're. I think they'll be better than the Pistons again. I think that's fair.
Unless they bring back Dennis Smith Jr., that's the only thing that could save them.
Yeah.
Dennis Smith Jr. has signed with Brooklyn.
That's true.
That's
Yeah, and I guess I think Dylan is right. I think I overvalued because I think Orlando is going to take that step. Though we can say they'll be better than Washington.
Yeah. I do
And
want
at
to talk
that
about
point,
Orlando.
it's the Pacers who I think it'll be better, and Bulls, Raptors, Hawks, like that, the 500 squad, and I don't think the Hornets will be close to 500.
I know I said I want to talk about Orlando. I don't really want to talk about Orlando. I want to talk about Milwaukee.
All right,
But
man, Orlando.
Orlando's
Moving on.
well, Orlando snagged Joe Ingles, which is something I love. Hey, a young team. Let's get a veteran presence guy who's going to come in on a lower contract who can play with our guys, but is not going to be the sole focus. That's what I think Houston messed up. Is they got a guy that these guys are not going to be the focal points. Um, but Joe will be out there. He'll play make. He'll hit threes in space. But Milwaukee lost him and they lost Javon Carter and they ended up giving Brooke Lopez a lot of money, short deal, 2-year deal, and they gave Middleton a pretty reasonable extension. Kind of similar feelings I had towards them as what I had towards the Kings of like, hey, you guys kind of needed to do something different, and you didn't, except for Milwaukee. I feel like you both didn't do anything different, didn't make any splashy changes, but you also lost some of your like guys in the rotation, the guys that were supposed to help you. So I'm not really sure where they go, except for signing Christian Wood. Bring him back.
I'm not even sure what cap they have, but I think you're totally right in just the sense that, especially after the 1-8 loss, where it's like, all right, cultural reset. What are we doing here? And they're like, we are getting worse, and running it back with the same players and bringing Jay Crowder back. And like, okay, interesting strategy, but hey, you take it.
I mean, they were in a pretty tough spot just with like being expensive and having two of their best players be free agents. Like, like the other option is that you try to play it cute and move on from Brook Lopez and try to get, maybe use the tax mid level and, you're starting Christian Wood at that point. And so, like, they're in a really tough position and definitely got worse, but I don't know how they could have done anything else. This is as sad as it is, and as much as like they needed to improve and ended up just running it back, but a little bit worse. Like this is actually kind of the best case scenario for them.
Mm, I'm going to push back because I think the best case scenario is that they get some of those guys that like went to LA and Phoenix, the like a Yuta Watanabe, or Torian Prince came on like 4.7 mil. Well, the biannual mini exception. Like Milwaukee needed to hit a couple of those guys. Like now I'm pulling up hoops hype here and they're going for Malik Beasley. That's like hey, they're in the mix with the Raptors and the Sixers. Like players kind of tell us who they think are going to be champions by who they look to sign with. And I think getting bounced in the first round, even though it was fluky, there was that Giannis injury. Like I think there's a fair amount of players who are kind of voting with their contracts. And yeah, market's going to have some stuff to do with it. I'd much rather live in LA than Milwaukee. Sorry, Miller High Life fans, but like I will take the sun and the surf over the beer capital of the world, or the U.S., I should say.
I think when you see contenders, because the Bucks have been contenders for a long time, whether they've kind of flamed out in the playoffs, it's like 18 basically. I mean, as soon as Giannis starts to take off, like all right, like the Bucks are serious playoff guys, and that's been 7 years now of this, and they've kind of run out of assets. They made the cheap moves and they hit on Brook Lopez and they did all these things right to win a championship, and now it's like you start to scrape the bottom of the barrel and your guys get more expensive and your assets get worse.
Yeah. I think there are 3 teams left that we at least need to touch on.
All right, I'm ready.
Cleveland, bringing in and Max Strus and Karis Levert back, and George Niang, and they getting Damon Jones, which I mean, hey, it's just a solid reserve. And apparently, rumor has it that they are kind of soft launching that they may be moving Jared Allen. How do we feel about Cleveland's offseason? I feel like they really shored up their wing.
Like they had a big hole at the 3, and there weren't a lot of options. Max Strus is probably one of the better players available, unless they were gonna, I don't know, get Dylan Brooks, but obviously they couldn't compete with that in terms of a money offer. Um, and so, like, yeah, a team with a lot of constraints, and they kind of filled their hole. Like, I don't know if Max Strus is like, a starting caliber 3-and-D small forward, but um, like in terms of players that were available, that's sort of the closest sort of facsimile that you can get.
Yeah, they made an effort to fix the problems that they had. I don't love the Strus contract just because I don't think Max Strus is that good. I think he's good, but away from the Miami system, I'm really curious how it works out. Whenever I think about free agents and if it's gonna work out, I think of the Evan Fournier contract. When he signed that deal, people are like, "Ah, but he'll be the scorer the Knicks need." And sometimes, man, the money just isn't right. The player's just not good enough. Um, I'm not. I'm not a huge Karis LeVert fan. I wouldn't call it a bad off season. I just think it's such a funky CBA and free agency class that we're forcing a lot of kind of awkward deals. And maybe this is just what deals look like, and I'm being reactionary. But I think they'll be better next season, and I'm interested to see them move away from the Twin Towers thing and what that might look like. I don't know what Jared Allen's value is necessarily.
I, I think with what's been happening in Philadelphia, shoring up that hole at the 3 for Cleveland could elevate them to the third best team in the East, which, if you get the third best team and something fluky happens, that is a pathway to the Eastern Conference Finals. That is a, hey, where the bracket breaks weird and we get there because Milwaukee missed some games of injury and now they're the 4 and them and Boston are playing and on one side and we can get there, which I think is huge.
I could see him as a top. But they were the 4 seed. They were the 4 seed this year, and I'd be
Yeah.
shocked if they weren't that or higher again.
Yeah.
Very excited, really excited to see the Evan Mobley season this year.
The other team on that side is Miami, who is going all in for Damian Lillard. And I think this is a huge gamble because it sounds like you guys are lower on Struce, and yeah, his numbers dip. They spike up a ton during the Knicks series and then dip for the rest of the playoffs. But I think giving up both Struce and Vincent, they trade away Oladipo. If they don't land a Lillard, then they really have to go for James Harden. And if they don't get Harden, they're kind of flowing down a river without a paddle.
Like legitimately not good enough to make the playoffs this time.
Yeah.
Actually, well, they snuck in this time in the play-in, but without Struce and Vincent, it's just not that good of a roster.
Do you think James Harden would pass the Heat's conditioning test?
I think Jimmy Butler would murder him after like a week and a half.
Imagine if he did pass it though.
Like
What if everything
super
changes?
in shape James Harden.
Yeah.
He's like off Steph Curry off ball shit. It's like, oh my god.
He-
What if this is
hear
the
me
team to fix him?
hear me out. I don't entirely want to suggest illicit drug use, but the Miami Mafia,
Nate, that's always the answer.
right? Are we sure that that Riley's not just going to slip him some coke? Just be like, all right, Harden,
Coked out James Harden.
right?
Just sweating his ass off, running
Right?
around for 45 minutes.
He's gonna lose a lot of weight. He's gonna, get in the best shape of his life. It will kill him sooner. This is not a good plan. And I please hope anybody listening to this knows this is a absolute joke. But like,
He just steps on the court in game one looking trim, fit, ready to go, playing hard on defense,
Mm-hmm.
white all over his beard.
He's dunking again. If Dame does get traded to Miami, are they the favorites in your guys' eyes?
I don't know if
Or what
yeah.
teams? Yeah, what teams are you taking? If not, what teams would you
I
take
mean,
over
they're
them?
my favorite in the East for sure.
Yeah,
I think the West is a different caliber.
always is.
Always is.
Actually, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Like, how good would they be if they got Dame? And like, they might be really fucking good. Like, he is exactly what they need.
Hmm.
And like Bam and Jimmy are like kind of the exact players that you want around Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they
I
might actually be the
imagine
favorites. And if all it
it.
costs is like Tyler Hero and like some future assets to become a championship contender or like Eastern Conference favorite, um, like yeah, make it happen,
Well,
dude.
it did also cost Struce and Vincent because you can't re-sign or bring them back. So like, while you're not trading them directly, it's kind of the same way like the Lakers had to give up re-signing Alex Caruso to get Westbrook. So I mean, they are slim. Their playoff rotation um is basically decimated. Like they did re-sign Kevin Love and they brought back Josh Richardson. But as far as like the guys who are playing heavy minutes, it's it's slim. It's Caleb Martin, it's Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, but
Hmm. Hope he stays afloat. You're totally right though in terms of Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler being just the perfect guys for Dame. They all cover each other's weaknesses. I want to imagine Dame went into the meeting with the owner and he's like, "Yeah, man, like I need to build a winner here. I want to win in Portland." And the owner's like, "What kind of players would work around you?" And he's like, "I really like a good defensive playmaking like wing, and I need like a really good defensive like mid-range expert center." And he's just slowly building on a whiteboard the Miami Heat. And he's like, "Yeah, and if you wore these jerseys and like it was a little bit warmer here," and they're like, "Wait a second."
well, he said that he wants to play with Mikal Bridges
Mm.
and Bam Adebayo. And supposedly Portland called in Miami and they're like, "Hey, what's it going to take to get Bam?" And they're like, "No, no, no. You misunderstood. He wants to play here with Bam." Well, the last team I wanted to touch on is Indiana. Just the Bruce Brown of it all. Was it 2 years, 45 mil? Just
So expensive, so much more than I ever could have
insane.
imagined. But I do like it because it's cheap, or it's not cheap, but it's short.
Yeah,
It's short. They have the cap, and they're a young team. You're giving them championship experience, and a guy who just won a title and makes winning
and
plays,
fits.
and the fit is nice. I have no problems with it, and I really appreciate them giving us Chris Duarte to clear cap to sign him.
Uh, Bruce Brown on that team is actually a really nice fit because we've seen him sort of succeed in two different roles. The role that he was in with Denver, which is sort of almost more playing the point guard on ball, spotting up with wide open looks. And then there was that role that he played in Brooklyn where he was basically just a center on offense and a point guard on defense. And like he could kind of combine those in this with this team. Like they don't have so much ball handling that he's just never going to get the ball. Like he can have some on ball reps. Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best sort of like value added passes and one of the best guys at creating um, open looks for teammates. So like he's gonna get those wide open shots. And then you've also got Miles Turner, who's one of the best shooting centers in the league. So that if Bruce Brown is setting screens and rolling downhill, like there's space around the rim for him to finish in space. And so I think that creates a lot of value on both sides because of the team that is around him.
And Obi Toppin catching lobs.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a fun team.
Oh yeah. I think they might be the sneaky team to get into the playoffs. I mean, what they finished like the 10th best record in the East last year, so I don't know how
They were the
sneaky it
11th
is.
seed, but
11th.
they were just 5 games back from the Bulls and then 6 from the Hawks and the Raptors, and depending on how seriously the Pacers take the season, because um, I guess at no point did they tank, but it was kind of over. They realized it was over at some point, and the Halliburton injury cost them. If they're healthy and they're all in, I take over the Hawks or the Bulls or the Raptors as of now.
Yeah. Also, it's July. Everyone has a very hopeful outlook on the season. I mean, I'm super pumped for the Pistons getting Cade back and Monte Morris and Joe Harris like that. That's gonna be good. We just talked about could Charlotte make the playoffs? Orlando, I think we all talked they're gonna make the next leap. Like spring is eternal. All of these teams are more hopeful going into next year than what they ended last year until injuries start happening. I mean, until you know players end up disliking each other, until some coach has just an idiotic plan or whatever the thousand things that could go wrong. But yeah, I think it was. I think there were some smart moves by the Pacers. I'm really excited to watch them play. They will at least be a very fun league pass team. All right, Aaron, where can people find you?
Possible chairs on TikTok. One word. Possible chairs.
Dylan, where can people find you?
Watching possible cheers on TikTok.
And you can find me at the Hoops Temple Pod on TikTok.
I appreciate it, Dylan.
Always.